What's up, wrestling world? I'm Mario Mason. I'm excited to work with Fanatic Wrestling today. We're doing these technique waves. I just wanted to talk to you a little bit about things that we're going to be doing, but I was a wrestler in New Jersey. I went to Blair. I wrestled at Minnesota, and then I transferred to Rutgers. I was a 3-time NCAA qualifier. I was a U23 national champ a couple years back, and I also wrestled on the senior ladder for about 5 years. So just wanted to really talk to you guys about misdirection attacks. Misdirections are really important in my game, and they have made me successful in the sport of wrestling because it's all about kind of playing that chess game. So in our video, we actually go through a series of a couple different sets of attacks. So it's not just a high cross or just a single or just a double. We actually use a couple of attacks, and most of the time I'm using 3 attacks that all can kind of work together and set each other up. So that's all we kind of do throughout our video. Then we get into a little bit of defense where we're short offense and we're moving and doing the same kind of things. You know, we can use one setup from our short offense to set up our other things. So our misdirection wrestling is really important. So basically we're trying to trick them a little bit, and then we're trying to slick them a little bit. Thank you guys, hope you enjoyed. So the first thing we're going to start with today, we're just creating motion and our position. And we really want to work on not patternizing our feet. So I want to get in my stance, and a couple things to really start thinking about is flattening this back out, having our knees bent, having our knee between our toe and our heel, and working on starting to create motion left, right, and forward at the same time. So when we start to move, I don't want to patternize my feet. So if I'm looking at the camera here, I don't want to keep stepping in and out or stepping and keep moving. You're going to start to patternize your feet, and it's going to allow a guy to ultimately time a shot on you. So we want to work on starting to move in a consistent fashion. So I can move and create angles. I'm getting a corkscrew kind of motion going. I'm moving forward, and my head is up. I'm trying not to lean over my toe, and I'm trying not to sit back on my heel. So this stuff is really important when we start to put pressure on a guy, because if I lean too much, I'm going to get snapped. If I lean too far back, I'm going to get shot, and I'm going to be easy to time. So I want you to work on being able to push from this low position with my butt and hips underneath of me, pushing up and through a guy. Okay, so guys, we started with just some movement and motion, being able to circle, and now we're going to start adding with the partner. So again, we're getting to this stance, and I can work on putting pressure in. So I never just want to really push straight forward where I'm going to be able to get snapped. When I start, I want to create a little bit of an angle. So I'm going to call it a shift. So I'm going to throw my fake, and that's my level change where I'm getting nice and low. And I'm anticipating that the guy is pretty good, and he's going to lower his level with me. So when he does, I'm going to beat him to an angle. So I throw my fake, I get down, and now I'm going to create an angle and get my head into either his neck or his temple, and I'm going to be able to put pressure on. So I'm going to get down and shift. So I'm going to shift, and now I can put pressure into him. And if you notice, my butt is underneath me the whole time. So again, different angle, I'm going to fake, and I'm going to shift. But my shift is not going to be completely lateral, or I'm never going to close the gap. So my shift is actually going to be into him on his level change with me. So I'm faking, create the angle, pressure in, and I'm attacking low. So this is what I mean by low, instead of coming up to a collar or an inside tie right away. You can always climb, but if we reach up too much, it's going to allow him to get under our hips a little bit. So fake, shift, and I'm attacking low, and now I can work up to my collar where I can push, if that's where I want to be. We're going to go the opposite direction. So again, my feet are going to move in, and then I'm going to create an angle. So it's going to be a shifting motion with my feet. We're kind of moving in unison, but at the same time moving forward to close this gap. So the second one is to the left. It doesn't matter which lead leg you are. So I'm throwing this fake, and then I'm creating the angle to pressure. And I'm attacking low again, and I can start to push off my back foot. I'm not leaning where I'm going to get snapped on my face. My butt's underneath me, so if he does snap, I can get my hips in the machine. So again, throwing fake, creating angle, and I'm pressuring and moving into him, trying to get him to react. So this kind of stuff is going to actually help us when we're starting to get to our misdirections and our movement to our shots. Last one we're going to do is going to be a fake. And every time I fake, I feel this guy coming after me. So I'm going to throw my fake, and I'm actually going to retreat. But I'm going to retreat with my butt down, my head up, and my hips under me. So I throw this fake, and now I'm here. And my butt's down. He's higher than me. If you're a double guy, this is a good time. Maybe we pop, and maybe he's even over my shoulders already, where I can explode head in or head outside, depending on your angle. If I have a good angle to my left, since I'm a righty, I can finish across. If I don't have a good angle, I want to go through the middle and take it down. So again, I'm going to throw this fake. I'm low, and I'm retreating back. My butt's down. I can even have my hands on the mat, and now I'm going to explode into a shot. I'll go one more from another angle. This time I'm going to go head in the chest, and I'm going to run through it. So I throw fake, shift, explode, and run. Finishing my double. So guys, this movement's really important. When we start to misdirect the guy, it's really important to get him to react. And I'm getting him to react off of fake, pressure, angle. Fake, pressure, angle. Okay guys, so now we're going to start moving on to making him create an angle for us. So we're going to create the angle obviously into him, but we're trying to force him to react, to move. So we're going to get into misdirections, and making him move off of something is going to be really important. We call it conditioning a guy. I want to force him to think I'm going to be going to one side so that he moves away from it, or we're forcing, again, a reaction. So again, we're going to use our fakes. I'm level changing. I'm going to create the angle, head position. Hands are going to start to attack low. And as you'll notice, he's going to circle a little bit because I'm forcing an angle on him. He's not just going to stand there. So if he does, I throw a fake, I shift, and he stays there. It's just easy for me to pick up whatever shot I want. High single, low single, even maybe a high crotch, outside step. So when I fake, I create the angle, I start to pressure. If you notice, he's moving on an angle. If it's the other way, it's the same thing. I throw the fake, you're going to notice when I start to pressure in, he's going to circle away from me. So I go fake, I shift, and now I'm pressuring into him, and he's circling away from my attack. So something I want to start to point out is my pressure. I'm going to push into him. And we can do it from collar tie. We can do it from thumb blocking, V blocking. I can do it from shoulder hooks. I can do it from just head position. Right? So everything we're doing is forcing a reaction to either get him to push back, circle, or get him to reach with his hands. So we're setting things up. So I'm just going to give you an example of how he's going to move, and I'm going to pressure one side and come back to the other side. Okay? So I fake, I'm going to move left on him, fake, pressure, I feel him really circling, and now he moves right into my angle where I can hit my single, or my low single, or my high crotch, whatever the option might be. So I'll give you another angle. I'm going to make him move away. So I'm throwing fake. I'm pressuring into him. He's really squaring up. This time I'm just going right into my high seat position. So these things are really important. And that's why we're creating angles on him to get him to move. So if I were to go straight into him, I'm trying to feel his reaction straight back. If I'm creating the angle, I'm trying to get him to move on angles. Right? So pressure forward a little bit more, I'm going to get him to come back to me. So again, I'm going to go fake, I'm creating an angle, and now I'm pushing hard into him, and now I'm going to release. You see him come to me where I can get to my doubles. So again, we'll do it from this way. This angle here, we're going to see him really forward. So again, I create an angle, I'm pressuring, I feel him coming back, and I can level change, and maybe I'm getting across on those shots. Alright guys, so I got him to move off of my fake and my shift and my pressure in. Left and right. I didn't do the one backwards, but that one was more so you guys can drill it on your own. Now I'm going to start using my hands a little bit better. So my elbows are always tight. I never want to be swinging where I'm going to miss him. Right? I don't just want to post on top of his shoulders. I like to post under his shoulder a little bit where I get my palm on him. I like to have my elbows a little bit bent depending on the scenario. If I'm going collar, same thing, elbow bent. If I'm pushing on shoulders, elbows are bent. Even when I'm here, my elbows are bent. I'm pulling, same thing. So I'm trying to create these pressures with my hands and get him to come back to me. So this is going to kind of be the start of our misdirection stuff, where I'm getting him to really bite on things I'm doing. So we call this conditioning, guy. I mentioned it before, but I'm trying to condition him to believe that I'm going to do something so I can get to something else. So really quickly, I'll give you a couple examples. Every time I do something, whether it's a fake, or it's a post, or it's a club, I have to pay attention to how he reacts. So when he reacts to my post, sometimes he might raise his arm with me. Sometimes he might just back up. Sometimes it might be a circle, depending on the guy you're wrestling. So your reactions are obviously going to change. If I collar, he's going to react. Maybe he goes overtime. I go collar, he fights inside. Collar, he snaps it off. Right? And these are the reactions you're starting to see as the match progresses. So it's really important when you get on the mat, you don't just shake his hand and now we're standing in front of him. You have to start conditioning him. So if your conditioning is post, fake, post, snap, right? Fake, level change, move. Post again, level change. So these kinds of things, fake, move back, fake, create angle. And I'm doing a lot of things with my hands. So I want to explain a little bit. Post, club, fake, club, fake, push, right? These are all examples of things we can do. We can grab, just attack, wrist. We can fake, low. These things are all objects that are going to get him to react. So conditioning a guy, you have to have a game plan when you get on the mat. Things that you do repetitively to see how he reacts. Now that we kind of have a base of movement and conditioning a guy, I'm just going to show you a little bit of how misdirections kind of work. I'm going to explain some shots later on. For now, I'm just going to give you some things that you can kind of start to think about. So in the middle of a match, or at the beginning of a match, let's just say I'm a righty, Kyle's a lefty. I know that I'm probably going to attack my single leg. That's my shot to his left leg. So in doing this, it's forcing him to react every single time. Same thing with our hands. We're forcing him to react every single time. So I'm going to continually go after this attack. I need to be repetitive, and I need to also make him believe that maybe this is my only attack. And we're going to condition his mind to believe that this is my only attack. This is the only way my hands work. So this is really important. So again, he's a righty lead. I'm just going to do a really simple posting on him and pushing. I have a wrist and a shoulder. When I feel Kyle push back, I'm just going to level change right into my single. So as the match progresses, I'm going to continually shoot this single leg. I'm pushing into my single. Maybe my setup is changing a little bit. Maybe I'm going wrist now, and I'm pushing. I feel it push back, pulling the head into my single. Now we got him biting. Maybe the fourth time, he reacts to my single. I push, I feel it, I don't get to it. Or maybe I do get to it, and it's a really hard finish versus the first few that were pretty easy. So now I'm getting in his head. The next one might be my misdirection, but it also might be the same shot, right? So I'm getting him to move, I feel the pressure back, and I miss again. He defends. So now we're going to start to think about hitting him on the other side. So my other side shot, maybe a high crouch. So I get that pressure in, I feel him coming back, I'm going to give him a look like I'm going single, and now I'm into my high seat. And this is kind of how things are going to progress. You have to be diligent in your task. I can't just shoot a single leg, then shoot a high crouch, then shoot a low single, right? Then shoot a double leg. Because you're not getting this guy to really think about what he has to do next. He can just kind of hold position. If his head's in a good spot, he's got good head and hands defense, he's just going to keep blocking. So I have to make him believe that I really, really want to hit that shot, and then I can get back across. So again, I'm moving on him, I'm posting on him. Maybe I get to my inside, I pressured him, and I feel him really stepping hard. I'm going to go back to my single. Oh, I miss. Now we come back in, I pressure, I feel it, and I'm across. on my high seas. So I'll do one kind of fast motion. I'll drill my single, and then I'm going to drill it again. I'm going to miss, and then on my third one, I'm going to go to my high crotch, and I'm going to score. So again, I'm throwing my fake. I see his reaction. You can see it. I faked. He reached up with his hand. Now I can get to my inside side. I pressure. He comes back. Now I'm in my shot, and I can work my finish. Come back. Maybe I score. We're in freestyle. We're right back on our feet. I'm moving on him. I pressure. I fire again like this. Come back up. I pressure. As soon as I feel him push, I just give him that little bit of a fake. So now I'm crossed. Okay? So that's your single to your high seat. I'll give you one more example. This time, I'm a double leg shooter or a single leg shooter. You use both. So I'm going to shoot my single again. I pressure, I move on him. I get to my single. Maybe I get him again. I'm pushing. I really get him to step hard. I get him again. On the third one, fourth one, he's going to start to react. When he reacts, I'm just going to level change really big, head and chest up, and explode through my double. Again, I'm moving on him. Got my hands working, pushing on him. I really push. I feel my singles there. He moves it. He squared up. Now I hit him on my double. So this is kind of how the progression of wrestling takes place. This is how the start of my misdirections can happen. And really when you get to the better guys, this is how you have to kind of play that chess game where he thinks I'm coming one way and I'm going to slick him, trick him on the other side. We started getting into our misdirection stuff a little bit, but I want to take it down a little bit slower, and I want you to just kind of mess around with the drill. I call it a change-off drill. Generally speaking, I do single, double, and high crotch because they kind of mesh together. So if you misdirect, you have to be used to being able to hit one side and then the other, or obviously vice versa. So I want to get to my single to start, and I want to talk about my head position a little bit. It has to be up and in all the time. No matter what the shot is, I go single leg, my head is really doing a good job driving, and we're attacking with it as I'm pulling the leg in, depending on the shot, above the knee, hands locked. If I'm shooting my high crotch, it's going to be the other way. I'm using my ear, and I'm trying to look for his backside. I like to look for his far shoulder so we can come up and drive across. Double. Same position, right? But you can turn and kind of see if I'm in on single. If I'm in on single, my head is really working, staying in. If you start to stuff me down, this is going to pose a problem for our athletes. Same thing if I'm on single this side, if you guys can see it, right? If he stuffs my head out of position, no good. So I need to keep it up, all right? So the second kind of part of this drill, other than knowing your single position, your high cross position, obviously your hips in on all these things, doubles included, is starting to work on some knee pounding. So let's just say I get in on my shot and he sprawls his leg back. So from here, this needs to be a knee slide across the body. Same thing, other side. So he sprawls his leg back. I'm trying to keep my head in great position, and I'm going to knee slide across the body to try and close this gap. So the idea with the knee slide across is he's not just going to go straight back. Generally speaking, he's going to go back and create an angle to try to get me extended. So he sprawls here and he starts to move to his right. I got to beat him to that angle. Same thing on my high crotch and double. I'll show it on both sides, but it's the same thing for both of them. I'll show it on high crotch first. A little bit different with your hands and shifting through, but the knee slide is the same. So he's going to sprawl back, but he's going to create an ankle away. So here, I need to step up, and I need to get my chest to turn the corner. It's not necessarily a big step as much as it is making this shift. Yes, we need this to drive, but taking this big step is not going to help us actually drive because it needs to be out to our side so we can get it across. So again, he sprawls his legs back, he's moving to my right, and I'm going to knee slide and turn the corner to my right, as opposed, sprawl back, to going here, because if he moves to his, I get crushed. So my position gets crushed. So my head needs to stay up, my hips need to stay in, and I'm going to follow him. And your partner, once you get better, he can really stuff your head. But for the time being, what he's going to do is he's going to feed hips. So we're going to work on changing off, knee sliding and changing off. So really quick on the change off portion. If I'm in on my single and he really throws his opposite hip, this is a good time to change into my double. We call it a head wheel type stuff too. We can stay on one leg, but we're just going to change off to double. Same thing if I'm on high crouch or single. Turn. He feeds me hip really hard. When I start to get extended, I can release, pivot, and knee slide. So now he's going to feed me hip again. My head slides, I start to get across, and knee slide. This time maybe he gives me hip, single. Now I'm knee sliding. He fights his other hip. Maybe I'm pulling myself in to my high crouch. If you notice, my position is pretty perfect. I would say pretty good. But I'm really working on keeping my hips into it. I'm working on keeping my head up and my arms are pulling. If it's not all happening in sync, you're either going to get extended, or you're going to get your head in bad position, or your hips are going to go out. So we have to make sure we're doing all these things, pulling our hips in, pulling the leg in, attacking with the head. So we'll give you a little bit of a higher pace on it. Now I'm just going to start on my double, and your double and high C are a little bit interchangeable here, depending on how much he's giving you. So I'll start on my double. I get into it, and we just start to go, and drive it. I'm just driving. Now maybe you're in practice and your coach wants you to go 10 seconds and then you're finishing your shot. Or 20 seconds or whatever it is. It can be used as conditioning, it can be used as a warm-up, it can be used as just as a simple drill to play around with your knee slides.